Welcome to my channel, The Imaginary Goddess, and my hoodie does not reflect my political reviews. Now today, you're obviously here to learn how to do shadow work, but I'm going to teach you how to do it in a special way, the way I do it. I don't know anybody else that does this, but I'm going to show you a way. No, it's not the only way I do it, but it is one of the most effective ways I do it. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, one of the easiest shadow work methods that I do is using this app called The Pattern. The Pattern is basically an app that reads the fuck out of you using your birth chart information. But your birth chart isn't actually on that app. It explains everything to you without any of that please don't fall. Should probably fix that. Anywho, it explains everything about you and your personality and your life purpose without all of that, astrological jargon and stuff. And it gives you also insight to, what is that word? Your cycles, not your month, they're basically phases that you go through. Most of us are not aware of phases that we go through. It's, it's when you're going through a time in your life that is going towards your growth. Do you get it? Okay, good. So, also this is not sponsored, but they better. Anywho, let's look at my notes. So, yeah, this method is really good for anybody, even if you haven't done shadow work before. I know using this app is a little bit confusing at first, but that's why we're here. Anywho, I'm going to explain how to use the app a little bit, but I'm really going to go into detail on how to use it the way I do for shadow work, because this app is such a good app for shadow work and getting to know yourself in general. I mean, sometimes it can be pretty vague, but that's not all the time. Let's go through the steps, but first you will need a notebook, a writing utensil, and the Pattern app on your phone. It's called the Pattern. Because I don't do shadow work without a journal. That's my fucking... I lost my train of thought again. I got Gemini in the third house, okay? My mind's moving way too fast to be, I have to write stuff down, okay? So, step one is go to your profile. After you've done all that setting up biz, but go to your profile and go to the tab that says your timing. This is the tab where you will find all of your cycles, and this is one of the main parts that we're going to be using for our shadow work, because this type of shadow work involves mainly what we can do to improve our lives, not really reconnecting with ourselves. This is more of improving, releasing old habits, releasing old energies, mentalities, and all that stuff. And we're working through that to get to our next level of ourselves. So go to one of your cycles in your timings, and this is the part where you start taking notes. Sometimes there's a lot to read, sometimes there isn't a lot to read. It depends on how much of a complex person you are. But so in your notes, here's how I do it. Actually, I need to get my journal. I need to get my journal. Okay, so here's my, I don't know what kind of journal to call this. I guess it's my pattern journal, where I write out my cycles. But we'll get into that in a minute. So what I do first is I write out the title of the cycle, because obviously we're writing about the cycle. So write the title, write the dates, the beginning and end date, and then write the peak date. Sometimes they're not peak dates. And as you can see, the beginning, end, and peak dates. Now, peak dates, I'm assuming are periods of time where the energy of that cycle is more prominent, but this app doesn't really explain that. So I'm learning as I go with this app. I've been using it for over a year now. And you good? I don't know if y'all can hear me coughing. So when you read your cycle, you're going to be looking for anything that is significant to you and you only. And what I mean by this is I'm not gonna tell you what you need to do, but here's how I do it. Usually I would write a list or a paragraph of specific sentences that give a general feel of what the cycle is, like a little summary. And then I would write key parts that I could reread for motivation, guidance, or reassurance. And then it's also a good idea to write down questions, synchronicities, or actions that come to mind that you notice, so you can look back at it. And it's like putting puzzle pieces together and documenting your shit. So let's look at my notes again. Oh, right. Sometimes there's little heed my warning sentences. For example, where's this one? If you're unable to change now, then the cost later will be harder to ignore. What happens now is like a glimpse of what happens when you work hard. This is kind of saying, like, if you're not able to make these changes and grow now, then your life is going to be a lot harder than it is now. So that's what I mean by little heed my warning sentences. Now, lastly, after you write all of that, and you're basically annotating your cycle, just to put it into a very, 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 very short explanation. You're annotating it and writing down what is significant that you think, well, significant to you. So lastly, you're done writing. This is a time where you start taking action, and this is gonna take as long as you need it to. And you'll know how long you need it to take, because it's just, you're just gonna do what you do. You're gonna do what you do. So taking intentional action. Back to the notes. Right. So you can't make your growth happen unless you take action. And intentionally acting upon necessary changes needed to make for your own growth. So what I like to do is I get a planner. My planner's all the way over there. Anywho, I'm not gonna get my planner. I get a planner, and I write down the beginning dates, the end dates, and the peak dates, because I like to map it out, and I like to see how much time I have, and I like to make little plans. But if that's too much for you and it gives you anxiety, honestly, it kind of gives me anxiety. But that's if you take it too far. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I just like to see. I'm a visual person. I just like to see a little map. So, plus I like knowing how much time I have to suffer for. I'm just kidding. So, let me show you an example of my favorite cycle that I'm going through right now. If I can find it. And here it is. This one is called Expanded Uniqueness. It started on the 28th of February, 2021, and November 9th, that's when it ends. So here's the title. Here's the date, the start and end. And up here, this is where I wrote the sentences that kind of summarize what's going on in this cycle, what to expect, stuff like that. What else we got? I highlighted some of these because I just thought it was significant enough to highlight. So basically, this is my favorite cycle that I'm going through right now. I'm going through 3 of them. And they all end on November 9th too, which is awesome. I like synchronicity. And this cycle is kind of about synchronicity, but it's more about being more comfortable being myself, which I'm getting so much more comfortable doing. And basically, this cycle is telling me to be different. This is the perfect time for me to be different and do things differently and embrace my uniqueness. Here's what I wrote. Right now, your unique, unconventional qualities are being expanded and encouraged. If you feel alienated, self-conscious, or out of place, this cycle's supportive energy will help you overcome it. Don't doubt yourself now. It's a period of renewal, and you should be enthusiastic and confident about owning everything you are. And yeah, those are some of my summary sentences, and it gives me, I'm enthusiastic every time I read it. It gives me enthusiasm, and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. Let's go out there and be weird and different. Because, okay, if you didn't know, I'm an Aquarius with an Aquarius stellium in the 11th house. So, anywho, what this was talking about is that synchronicities are key. And I wrote that in all caps. Synchronicities are key. And I wrote down what it said about it. And it says, trust my intuition. And be on the lookout for chance meetings and circumstances. And this is what I was talking about. Writing down a little motivation and guidance. Here's my little motivation bubble. Believe in who you are. I am trying. So, oh, and here's another little motivation thing or explainer. I don't really know what to say about this one. But at the bottom, I wrote, you are being given clear instructions to go with the flow, change course, and travel down an unfamiliar path. And that's what it said in there too. And under it, I wrote three more sentences that it said, and it was talking about some like what I call them tips. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. I guess advice from this cycle. It was talking about don't resist unusual opportunities. Oh, I see that person with that dog all the time. It's a 3-legged dog. It's super fluffy. And it's literally pouring down raining, and I don't know why they're walking. But I guess they like the rain. I would be out there right now if my baby was asleep or something, but he just woke up. All right, so it says don't resist unusual opportunities, and it also says something that seems like a setback or bad may be the best thing for you, so don't judge it. Which I completely forgot about that. Oh my god. I've been doing the exact opposite of that. Okay, well, I'll worry about that later. And the last thing I wrote was, ride this wave of expansion and open up to the possibilities. Sometimes I like to just reread these and see if I'm on track or happy with what I'm doing. Obviously, this method isn't for everybody, so do what resonates with you. Change it around a bit and see your own way of doing shadow work, but this is just a little guide to help you starting off or trying something new when it comes to personal growth and shadow work in general. And I really hope this helped you, and as always, I would love it if you guys liked, shared, subscribed, and had a lovely day. Stay grounded, babies, because my work doesn't work if you don't work. Bye-bye. Hey, Bubba. I love my eyebrows. They're wild, just like me. I had to get up because my baby woke up. Swear to God, I need to fix this. Because my baby woke up and it's feeding time and he's eating. Anywho. Hey, Bubba. How's my baby? Okay. Anywho.